Someone said it to you at a funeral or in a hospital hallway. God will not give you more than you can handle. They meant it kindly, and it is not in the Bible. Not once, not anywhere. Let me show you where it came from. There is a real verse underneath it. 1 Corinthians 10, verse 13. God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. Read that word carefully. Tempted. The verse is about temptation. It is not about suffering. Paul is saying you will never face a temptation you must give into. There is always a way out. That is a real and good promise. It is just not the promise people quote at funerals. Somewhere along the way we swapped one word. Tempted became given, and a promise about sin became a promise about pain. Those are not the same thing at all. Now here is where it gets uncomfortable, because Paul also wrote about suffering, and he said almost the exact opposite. 2 Corinthians 1, verse 8. We were under great pressure, far beyond our ability to endure. Read that again slowly. Far beyond our ability to endure. He is describing being given more than he could handle. He goes further in the next line. He says they despaired even of life itself. That is the same man who wrote the temptation verse. He is not contradicting himself. He is describing two different things. Temptation has a limit and an exit. Suffering sometimes does not. So why does this matter so much? Because of what the cliché does to a person in pain. It quietly tells them something cruel. If you are drowning, you should be able to handle this. So your drowning is a personal failure. That is not comfort. That is a verdict. And it comes in a kind voice, which makes it much harder to argue with. I think most people who say it mean well. They are uncomfortable and they want to help. The sentence fills a silence that feels unbearable, but it puts the weight back on the person already buried. Here is what Paul says instead in the same passage. This happened so that we would not rely on ourselves, but on God who raises the dead. Do you see what he just did? He did not say you are strong enough. He said you are not, and that was the point. The purpose was not to prove your capacity. The purpose was to end your reliance on it. That is a completely different kind of comfort. The cliché says you can carry this. Paul says you cannot, and someone else will. One of those is a burden. One is relief. So what do you say instead, at the hospital, at the funeral? Honestly, less than you think. Job had 3 friends who sat with him 7 days in silence. That was the best thing they ever did. They only started causing damage when they began explaining. You do not have to resolve someone's pain to be present in it. Sitting there is not a failure to help. It is often the help. And if you are the one drowning right now, hear this clearly. This being more than you can handle is not a spiritual failure. It might be the most biblical thing about your situation. You were never the one who was supposed to be strong enough. He raises the dead. That is the actual promise. Keep walking with him.